back to the shop. This morning I came down to work on the Nutcracker a little bit. I've been a little bit nervous about making this big giant cut in this guy to cut out for the Nutcracker mechanism, but it turned out to not be so bad. So here's what I've got right now. I've got a nice gouge in here, nice big cut. And what I did to cut him was use this bandsaw with this big old saw blade on there. And the way I did it is I made two cuts, one here, all the way down to the end. Then I came out and then I cut from here across to here, and that took out a big chunk. And then I came down as far as I could and cut across there, took out another big chunk, and then I came across and back and forth. Just kept going back and forth till I could get the blade kind of flat against here and kind of run right along here flat. And it came out pretty good. You can actually see the progress I made if you take a look at these pieces here where I made a cut. I made the first cut, if I set it down here, I made the first cut and this came off, and then I made the next cut and then this came off, and then I made the last cut and then this came off, and then pretty soon I was just getting little bitty shavings and that off. So I'm pretty happy. The arm fits in the slot pretty nicely. So what's next is we've got to figure out how to roll this guy over on his side now and find the center point here and drill a hole that matches where this needs to be. So yeah, we'll figure out how to do that next. Well, here's what I came up with. I've got this big old square, I guess you'd call it, that my grandfather left me. And I've got the Nutcracker body clamped to it, so theoretically this should be a 90-degree angle to what it was before. So this slot down here should be horizontal now, which is what I'm after. What I did is I reached in here and measured the distance between here and here, and I came up here with put a square up to get those faces actually match. I'm pretty happy about that. And measured over half the distance from this edge to this edge, which from that edge, measured half that distance from the square to this mark, made that mark right there. And then just to double check, I measured from that mark down to this seam. I don't know if you can see that seam here where the wood is laminated, and that's exactly 1 inch to that mark. And then from this mark down to this side of that lamination, it's exactly 1 inch. So that makes me think that we got it pretty darn close. And then I measured from this mark over to this side, this face of that, and it's a little longer than from the mark to this edge. But if I try to measure from this edge here to this face, I get the difference between this length here to this length here. So I'm pretty confident in my mark here. And then what I've done is I've gotten my template here and measured from the top of this, which remember was this top face here. We said that was this top face here, and measured down to the top edge of that hole, and then added 3/16 because that's a 3/8 inch hole, and I measured that distance down from here down to this mark. So now I've got a pretty good reference of where to drill. So that's next. Let's get over to the drill press and take this whole contraption, and it's pretty darn sturdy. So I'm confident to drill at least through the first side. I'm not sure if I'll be able to drill all the way through. I don't think I've got a drill bit long enough. But let's see. We may have to repeat this on the other side. So here we are at the drill press. We scored pretty lucky here. This table is down as low as it will go on this drill press, and this mechanism is all the way up, right? And there's maybe 3/8 of an inch there of clearance. So I think this is we got lucky in that this is just going to fit on this drill press. Now my table's kind of small, so I got everything hanging out, but this guy's pretty sturdy on here. I think we're going to be okay to drill that hole, and it certainly fits with the clamps and everything, make it around the post, and I think we're good to go. I'm going to put the camera down so I can drill, because I can't drill one-handed. Alright, so I learned something today. This hole is right in the center, and it lines up pretty darn close to this screw right here. So just to this side here is that screw goes in, and you know what? Screws and drill bits don't mix. Let's see if you can see that. See that Missing tine there? Yeah. So I totally shot that drill bit. Luckily I have another one. That's what it's supposed to look like with a nice point on there. Alright. Anyhow, one hole's down. Now I gotta flip this guy over and drill a hole on the other side, and hopefully those holes line up. Well, this jig has served us well, but it's time for it to go. So we'll set this guy aside and have a look at what we got. Now, I couldn't find a 3/8 inch dowel, so I'm going to have to go pick one up, but I found this big honkin' number 3 Phillips screwdriver, which seems to work pretty darn close for a 3/8 inch dowel, and we work pretty good. We go up and down. We go up and down far enough. We can definitely clear. My intention always was for this to stick up a little bit so I can cut a little off here and a little off the front to kind of contour it. The one mistake I did notice is the back. We're hitting the back here because the slot's not deep enough. Now, I could cut the slot out deeper here, but I don't want to cut the slot out any deeper on the front. That's the back. I actually got this in backwards. I don't want to cut the slot out any deeper on one side than the other, and I don't want to cut the whole thing deeper, so I'm not sure how to cut that slot at a better angle there easily. So what I'm going to do is just nip a little off of here, off of the arm, so that it will fit into that slot better and kind of lay flat against the back here and not stick out, even though, yeah, that's the front that's in backwards. So anyhow, off to the bandsaw, and we'll cut a little off of there and get her fitting in there. Well, here we go. I cut the profile out of the front. I cut a big old notch out of the back here to get it to fit, and it lines up perfectly with the body, up and down. Mechanism works well. Quite happy with it. Now I need to take the head and cut some grooves in here to match this, because he's got to sit around this slot, and then I'm going to have to maybe drill some holes through him as well. I'm not sure, but for right now we got to cut this groove to match this groove so that he fits back on top here again. So, but yeah, this is what our Nutcracker is going to look like. Alright, so we're back to our jig. Luckily, the head fit perfect. I had to adjust it a little bit. I don't know if you remember that I glued a little bracket down in here, but it's hit on this lip, so I busted it off. It's not screwed in down on this end, but you really just had to keep it from twisting. This is not a cut that's going to be visible by any means. So I just got it in here. I kind of centered it up this direction, you know, so it was kind of level. I zipped a couple screws in the end here. I'll pull those out now and we'll test fit her together. So we'll be right back. Well, here we go. We have the body and the head together. We have the cracker mechanism in place, and you can see that it does function. All in all, I'm pretty happy with the way today went. So I need to get a piece of dowel. I need to fit the arms. My intention is to drill the arms out in the same location here and use the dowel that goes and is the axle here for this cracker mechanism to actually hold the arms on as well. So the arms will hang from that dowel at the side. So we'll have to see how well that works. I need to get a piece of dowel before I can do much more. And then we're pretty well good. We got this guy looking in good shape right now. So that'll do it for today. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this update, and I'm certainly pleased with the progress I made today, and I'm looking forward to finishing this project up. See you guys later.